This is Hal Electronica, and you're listening to the podcast Unapologetic by Eric King.
I would be considered, I guess, the afternoon show. So we do a lot here at WOVUs. But without further ado, I would like to reintroduce my guest for today. Although you heard about him on our Wellness Wednesday, and that was earlier in the month. But I do want to reintroduce him. We have Aaron Johnson Levy. He is a dynamic media powerhouse, accomplished executive director, and the leading advocate for authentic Black representation in entertainment and media. His groundbreaking work on Fox's The Show has not only entertained audience nationwide, but has also, let me say that again, but also sparked necessary conversation that have challenged and reshaped long held narratives, as well as power, identity, and leadership, as well as success in the Black community. Aaron's storytelling goes beyond entertainment. It serves as a transformative tool for elevating Black voices and highlighting our multifaceted experience. So we got a lot to talk about, and we got a lot going on. So I would like to. I don't have my. I'm gonna do my claps. There you go. It sound bad over the radio, but I would like to bring in Aaron. Aaron, how you doing, man? Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
All right, man. So you were here recently, and we were talking about just Wellness Wednesdays and dealing with how do us as individuals, as all individuals, deal with wellness. But today we just talking, brother to brother. This is our brother to brother segment, and this is when we talk just like we in a barbershop. I don't have any hair, so I haven't been to the barbershop in a while. But my standing co-host, Dr. Washington, he is in the studio with me today. So, Dr. Washington, you want to go ahead and say hey to
Hey,
Aaron?
How you doing, sir?
He there.
And the important question is, what kind of hairstyle do you have?
He got a Covali. Isn't that what we used to call? He got the old head Covali.
It's not much. It's trying to maintain something on the head, So
is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's all it is, yeah.
All right. So, Aaron, you got a pretty dynamic story. And one of the things that I did want to talk about today is how does us as Black men, collaborate together when at times we are afraid of the individuals that we're collaborating with. Meaning, there are times I've heard, after telling my story about how I grew up and some of the things I went through and how it took some work and some doing to view Black men as allies rather than harmers, over my life. So if you could talk about, if you just open up with that, just how does connecting with other Black men work for you? And did you ever have that experience on when, you see another Black face that was a male? It wasn't necessarily as if they were there for you and you had to get used to that person being connected to you.
Wow. That's a heavy opening question. There's so much I could talk about. I was thinking along the lines of most immediately the show.
Right.
I show The House. Anyone who watched the show saw a lot of conflict between two gay Black men.
Right.
And I did not expect that. It was quite unexpected, actually. And that became the dynamic of the show. And it also is the reason the show ended.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is based off of how the dynamic with two Black men who are both identify as gay, as well as identify as Black and male, the show couldn't move forward because of that conflict. Can you say a little bit more about how you, as a person that was the co-host, right? So that's like me and Dr. Washington. Despite going at it over the radio, we would go at it off the radio. Can you talk about that dynamic as well?
Yeah. We weren't we weren't acting for the cameras. Everything that was on the camera was off the camera as well.
Got you.
And so there was the tension was just too great that it just permeated everything. And I was afraid to travel to certain places because I thought that there might be a hit out for me.
Get out of here. Well, you was in LA, so that was high stakes. You was on Fox. Come on, that's high stakes, man. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. So I mean, so the idea of black men working together and not seeing each other as the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
it just, I think, intensifies.
Yeah.
And you kind of move down the social ladder.
Okay.
So I always describe the hierarchy as, it's gender first. You got
Right.
female, and then gender queer.
Right.
Then it's racial. So you've got lightest skin to darkest skin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then after that, then you have the sexual orientation, whether you're heterosexual or queer or gay, bi, and that, LGBTQ. So you got stacks, you got your straight white man at the top of the hierarchy.
Right.
And then all the way at the bottom of the hierarchy in America is your queer, trans black people, trans and gay and lesbian black people.
Right.
So all of that stress from the system, every other ethnicity is participating in this hierarchy. And so we're getting it from society, we're getting it from neighbors, we're getting it from teachers, we're getting it from mom, we're getting it from dad, from sister, from brother, from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps pouring down. And so when you have a show that was all queer black people, it was like the stress of the entire society of America is kind of collected right there on set.
Wow. It appears, Dr. Washington, you've been in the game longer than I have, right? And so this idea of collectivism and being together as a people has been a struggle forever, right? When you hear just, Aaron is younger than me. I'm younger than you, and you're here that we're still having this same fight. And we're talking about with men, but just overall, we're having this same fight. What is that like for you, knowing that we're still dealing with this same issue that we dealt with years ago?
Yeah, and I am older, and to actually, I think the last time I was here, we talked about where I was born and where I was raised,
right.
and the community in which I was raised in, the ideology that was put into me as a young man, and how I had to take that to shape my life, because you wasn't shown how to do things, you was told how to do things.
Right.
So and you had to figure that out for yourself. You would hope that me and my friend always talk and say, man, is it really 2025? Because a lot of the stuff that we saw back, I was born and raised in the 60s. I got caught up in school desegregation. I got caught up in all of that stuff.
Right.
But a lot of the stuff that we are still facing today still make it feel like you're still back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And here's the caveat is that it's internal.
Yeah.
It's not so much.
It's not external anymore.
No, it's
so,
not. Yeah. No, it's not.
Going back to what Aaron was saying, these are two same identified individuals that are having this beef, and they can't make the money that I'm pretty sure. I mean, Aaron, when you look at some of the programming that is out now, your show fits in with programming that is on the air right now. What is it like seeing programming that, if only you two could have figured out what was going on, you could still be on the air?
I don't have any regrets. I think that it was a wonderful experience. I got to experience achieving something that I aspire to, and it's very difficult to get to, and seeing a world that I had not been exposed to. But also, I built a lot of character, because I could have responded very differently to the scenario, but I really stood up for myself, and I learned from the experience. So I don't have any regrets. I don't feel, I'm glad that I did not just kind of go with whatever I needed to go with to continue the show.
Okay. So basically what I hear is, although it was problematic, you've transitioned to a part of seeing, it just didn't work out, in a nutshell. And I hate to say it in that way, and I'm trying not to be dismissive. With that said, there's based off of what I've read on the IMDb and also there was a great opportunity there. And that opportunity, we're constantly as a people looking for opportunities to not, like, as I said in the open, to break generational wealth, but we keep getting in our own way. And although based off of what you're saying, there's no regrets, listening to it from my end, there is another missed opportunity where our community, right, as people of color, Black men, we couldn't get out of our own way. That's how I hear it. What is your thoughts on that?
I'll tell you what I learned from the experience, and
Hmm.
that what's really important in life. I wouldn't have gotten that lesson had I not had that show end. I
Hmm.
would have been continuing to aspire to fame, to fortune, to try to get as many eyeballs on me as possible, and without ever really learning what is the real value of life.
Yeah.
So I had to step away from Hollywood and start to pursue my childhood dream, which was to help people mentally.
Hmm.
I don't even know how I even got that in my head as an aspiration, but there was a homework assignment that I found years ago from like maybe first grade. It was a bunch of pictures of professions, a little policeman or a fireman, and I was supposed to circle anything
Hmm.
that I had an interest in. And I had circled nothing on the paper at all. And
You just said forget it.
I was like, I don't want to be any of this stuff. And underneath it said, when I grow up, I want to dot dot dot, and you write in, and that's the only thing I wrote in. I wrote in, I want to help people mentally,
Mm. Okay. Okay.
and so I got to do that by
Mhm.
stepping away from Hollywood and saying, okay, I have a fresh start now. What do I really want to do?
Yeah.
And by entering into grad school to become a licensed mental health professional, I learned what is really valuable in life. And that is for me contributing to my community.
Got you. Got you. I think what's also interesting is so in mental health or working with someone in mental health, and Doc, you can add to this because Doc also works in mental health. It is all about storytelling. When we look at storytelling and your ability, you had a show that told a story, and it was a part of a large media company. Fox is a extremely large media company. When you look at how we are portrayed and how the narrative for Black men are shaped by social media as well as larger media, what are some things that you still want to add, more or less, if you had the opportunity to mainstream media to help Black men, preserve their identity as well as their dignity?
Well, I think what you're doing is exactly what can be done and what
Mhm.
should be, and that's create to take advantage of social media, of platforms like the radio station, and get your story out there, because they're so accessible that you're going to reach someone who identifies with your story.
Mm, mhm.
Versus the old school traditional media, there were gatekeepers, and they controlled the narrative of who Black men are, and it really influenced people, I think, in a much greater way than today.
Right.
You know, the television is kind of non-existent in the lives of people under a certain age.
True. True. Yeah.
You know, get on social media.
Well, let's talk
That's
about these gatekeepers, because a lot of you are a part of an organization that has quite a few gatekeepers. Gatekeepers. When I think about gatekeepers, Doc, I'm thinking about it in more of a way of hitting a litmus test or having a litmus test in order to bypass that. When we look at what Tyler Perry has done, Lee Childs, all of these individuals, are they considered who are Black men, right? Are they considered gatekeepers right now, or are they on the inside working for the better of the identity of the Black man?
I I personally don't
Wow.
think my colleague,
Uh-huh.
my show, Cheryl Rich.
Hmm.
I was just texting her the other day. She said Hollywood is over.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is all social media. It is all, there. Tyler Perry. You can ask some 20-year-olds what their thoughts of Tyler Perry are, and they don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. What's your thoughts on that, Doc?
I agree. I have to agree with Aaron on this particular thing. I'm old school, and by the way, just history.
Okay.
Fox was built on the backs of Black people.
All of them were
Yeah,
WB,
yes. If you
Fox, all of
yeah,
them.
you go back and look at the history of it, they started out with all Black shows and stuff, so they know what population to deal with
Yeah.
to get them where they were supposed to get. But I agree. I'm not a social media person.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm 60 some years old. So
Yeah.
anything that has to go beyond pressing keyboards, the keys on a computer, I'm just out.
Yeah.
But I do have people who are social media fanatics.
Right.
So and you do go, even when you go to YouTube now, you look at shorts.
Yeah.
You don't hardly look at the full thing. It's all shorts.
Yeah.
But to go back to your question about
Mhm.
Tyler Perry, those people, they came along at a time when it was okay for there's time now for Black people to do what it is that they're doing,
Yeah.
for Black men to do what they're doing. And he
Mhm.
came along at that time, and he flourished
Very much so.
during that
Yeah.
that time. But if you notice now, he's starting to level off.
Yeah.
And like Aaron said, he's starting to
Yeah.
pretty much go into the back
By the wayside.
right. So if you're not on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and whatever else they come, I think there's some other things that are coming out, and you're not on those things. You look, because I look at stuff now, and they say, well, you go to TikTok. I say, I don't have a TikTok. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm
Right.
all right
Right.
with that, because that's where I'm at right now. So,
Because that's where you are. When I
Right.
think about Tyler Perry, and I think about this concept of shaping the narrative, I personally am not a Tyler Perry fan, right? And I'm very much vocal about why I'm not a Tyler Perry fan. And I'm okay not being a Tyler Perry fan, but I do respect what he chose to do.
mhm.
He took an idea based off of some tropes within the Black community, going all the way back to Flip Wilson, past Flip Wilson, all the way back, right? And he built something off of it, based off of what you're looking at, Aaron, or based off of what you're saying. I would hope that I have, at least 1 to 2 young people that's listening, whether on Spotify or YouTube, that one day would like to shape the narrative based off of what you see today. And I'm not sure how close you are to the industry anymore. Who's shaping the narrative in a way to make, to allow younger, folks to get in and, provide the opportunity for them to tell their stories, just like you were provided the opportunity to tell your story?
I don't see that happening. I
Mm,
don't. I felt like our show was really groundbreaking in that a major network signed on to represent a panel of LGBTQ Black people that had
right.
never been done. So I was looking at it like, wow, this is a revolution, and now everyone can have their moment in the spotlight. Uh, and then the political situation has taken a turn, and now
Mhm.
we're going way back where people may not even be able to just be out
Yeah.
in public, let alone on television.
Right. Right.
So I I don't see it as, I don't see the industry as moving forward, and I don't see it as a way to move forward. I see people getting on their phones,
Hmm.
creating content at home,
Hmm.
posting their stories, posting their perspective. That's the way to move forward, because
Yeah.
everything else is moving backwards.
The idea of success on the image, or what makes up the image of the Black male, because in my opinion, Tyler Perry has done quite a bit of damage for Black men. Most of his movies are not traditionally healthy for Black men. And and I'm just being real, man. I just never, I understood what he was doing. I just never enjoyed the content, because I felt as though there were different ways to do that. Now that's me on the outside being selfish, saying that I truly believe that there is a different way to build your wealth, but not on the back of some of the negative aspects. Because Black men we already got struggles, right? I mean, we got
Here's my question.
yeah. Go ahead.
But
This is a
when,
dialogue. This is not just an interview. But go ahead.
so how has Tyler Perry done damage? Because I've heard a lot of people say they don't like him. I don't
Yeah.
like his script writing abilities.
Yeah.
But you're saying you don't like him because he's done damage to the Black male. Now that is not something I've heard.
I just don't like his characters, man. I just don't like the Black male characters that I just don't. I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm missing something. Maybe because, correct, I have not watched all of his movies, right? I could, Why'd I Get Married 1 and 2, Mr. No Good Deeds, and I enjoyed him in what's that movie? Alex Cross. For the most part, that is something, but other people talk to me about his movies, and I do follow his career. Maybe I'm being unfair, but that's my opinion. That most of his characters, from the Diary of a Mad Black Woman to what is the most recent one that he has on Netflix or whatever. I mean, come on, man. You don't have to provide a caricature on every. Not every individual in your movie has to be a caricature of the worst type of person. That's all I'm saying.
Example of a character or like the type of
I
person
can't.
that you.
I can't. What's the one he? It. I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name of the movie, man. I'm sorry. Where the dude was just so upset to where it was with Megan Good, whatever that movie called. I can't think of the name of that movie. Do you know what I'm talking about, Doc?
I don't follow Tyler Perry that closely. I'm sorry.
It's one with Megan
Yeah,
Good and
yeah.
one of the old twins. Husband. But just, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna stand on that, and I will stand on that for as long as possible. And maybe after the break, I'll, for my two listeners, I'll bring it up. But I'm gonna stand on it, bruh. I get it. I respect his game. I respect what he's doing. But I do not feel as though he has uplifted the Black community in a positive light based on his
So
content.
here's another thing that I have heard that I was wondering if you were saying this is that the legacy of Black men dressing in women's clothing to progress in Hollywood
Mhm.
is has done damage to Black men in some way that
No,
I don't
I
understand.
wasn't gonna go there with that because I understood like the history of it, right? I understood the minstrel of it. I also understood, I mean, growing up, I think I used to watch reruns of Flip Wilson, and I'm not sure if you know who Flip Wilson is. Geraldine. I mean, it was funny. It was Flip
No,
Wilson dressed up as Geraldine. Say that one more
uh,
time.
Shanae on Martin
Right. I
Lawrence
mean,
doing.
I'm not in Washington. I don't feel as though Black men need to dress up in a certain, women's clothes in order to succeed. What I saw, Shanae and all the rest of them, whether it is Jamie Foxx, who used to do, what's her name? Wanda,
Wanda.
right? On In Living Color, which was a Black show. I just saw it following in the footsteps of individuals that came before him. I don't fall into the trope of this is how Black men needs to be socialized in public in order for us to succeed. I don't know, Doc, what you got on this?
Yeah, I agree with you. I have no problem with Black men dressing up as women.
Mhm.
I don't look at it there. I look at it as characters.
Yeah.
They're coming in as characters. But I do agree with you when you say about how Black men are portrayed.
Mhm.
And it seemed to me like we're portrayed on extremes.
Yes.
We're either on this end.
We either
at
extra
the end.
weak and got
Right.
nothing going on for
Right,
us, such
right.
as what's that Tyler Perry movie, the Acrimony. There
Yeah.
you go.
With-
Or we on
yeah.
the other end where we're highly abusive.
Exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we are not put in the middle where we too can be
Complexities.
just average people,
Yeah.
and that we are successful.
Yeah.
We don't have to sell drugs.
Mhm.
We don't have to beat our women.
Mhm.
We don't
Mhm.
have to do all that stuff because we don't.
We,
So
right.
we don't do those things. So when we are portrayed that way and we're looked at that way. And unfortunately, in a lot of Hollywood-based
Mhm.
movies and things, that sells for Black people.
It does.
And that's how we are looked
Yeah.
at. So when people look at us and we look at Black men, they say, "Oh, he's an abuser,
Right. Right.
he is this," but not saying that he's a successful
Right.
playwright or he's a success like Aaron, a successful
Right.
man that's going out making a cause
Right.
like you.
Yeah.
We're not looked at like
You too,
that,
bro. You
know?
too. You
Yeah.
too.
So yeah, me too. Yeah. But we're not looked at that
Right.
way. We're looked at in the way we're portrayed on camera. Even when you look at somebody when they have an accident or something on television,
Yes.
they go find the worst
The
person
worst.
that they can
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how people see us.
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah. No, I feel,
yeah.
Aaron, what you got? Because we can talk about this, for a while now, and this is more of a discussion rather than an interview, because I really wanted to get your input on just this concept of not only collectivism, right? Because we haven't actually talked about that and how to be, and maybe that's something that you can address next, but just this overall image of us Black men, and I just think extremes sell, right? You like something, extra high, It'll get knocked down and it costs more money. I mean, you earn more money when there's negativity. This is just me just having a conversation, just saying, I just don't like this. And I get tired of the lack of nuance within, Black programming. There's a show called The Johnsons. Anyone ever heard of this show?
That's a animated show, right?
No, no, no. This is
Oh,
a full-fledged Black men, and it's on the Bounce Network.
Mm.
It is one of the most complex, heart, opening show, and it's about 4 Black men who are friends. It's on Bounce, which means it's not on Fox,
Right.
and it's not on some of the major networks. But I love the show, and it has 3 seasons. So check it out. It's called Johnson. What do you got? What do you got before we got to wrap up? Because this can go. I could talk about this forever. What you got, Aaron?
my only thought. Well, are any of the 4 men non-heterosexual?
Not. No.
Okay.
So that's the okay.
And I say that
Yeah.
because when you talk about collectivism,
hmm
that's the thing that is most challenging for me, even at this moment.
hmm
I have had a hard time seeing myself as a part of the Black male collective.
Right. Right.
From early on, from the barbershop. You mentioned the barbershop. The
Right.
barbershops were the most abusive places for me growing up. When I was starting to feel like I was a little bit different, I was only bullied to the umpteenth degree
Yeah.
when I have to barbershop and hear, the FAG word thrown around 1,000 times.
Right.
And it's like, I'm just getting beat up on the head, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there with a haircut. So that's my childhood experiences. And then it just continued. So
Yeah.
as I become an adult, I don't see myself, when I hear people talk about, the issues that Black men go through, I see myself as a gay Black man. I
Right.
can relate to the struggles that a gay Black man goes through.
Right.
And they overlap in some ways with a straight Black man. I don't even really, I don't see myself as a part of that group
Right.
because I don't know if it really exists.
No, I got you. Yeah. 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 Go ahead. Because I don't want to interrupt you. Because just make sure that we get to the next segment. But I do want to make sure that we're clear about that. Your position and how you are approaching it is, I want to see all of me in there, not just a male, not just Black, but also a gay Black man. And I appreciate that. And I do.
There's much from morning to night that is just different.
Yeah.
The things that are thought about, the approaches to dealing with situations, the life experiences, they are just night and day. Not what I experienced.
Yeah. Do you guys ever talk? So what I want to do, I'm gonna take a break. I do have to get to my segment at 12:50. We bring in Code M. If it's possible, I want you to think about this. When you look at this idea of passing, right? Because no one knows you're gay. They can see you're a male, right? You got a beard, right? They can see that you're Black. You have skin color. But they don't know necessarily that you're gay until afterwards. If you could, what is your thoughts on passing, right? Unless you say it out of your mouth. What are your thoughts on passing in Hollywood? The individuals who choose to pass as straight, but they are gay in order to get jobs. You got a quick hitter on that for me?
This is a costume.
Okay. Okay.
If you watch the show, you'll see me in a wig and
Mhm.
makeup and women's clothing.
Okay. Okay.
People don't know who this is.
Okay. So your real self is dressed up in women's clothing. Your persona is what you're quote unquote supposed to look like. Is that what you're saying?
I believe that I am not unlike any other human being.
Mhm.
I think that all of us have the capacity to wear women's clothing, to wear makeup, to do all the things that I've done.
Mhm.
And even in terms of sexual orientation, I am just a full human being. All the things that a human can do, I've done them.
So
And so,
yeah.
Ooh,
Wait.
I'm
So
getting it.
this is what I want to know. When you look at the concept of passing, in whether it is in the social world or in the entertainment world, what are some things that what are 2 things that get you upset about the whole idea of passing?
It doesn't get me upset. Everyone has the right to choose
Okay.
how they.
Okay. I like that. Okay. All right.
I'm now.
Right, no, but I have heard that. I've heard that the concept of passing, right? Someone is always trying to bring someone out the closet, or show what they're going through. But I do got to get to my segment, Aaron. I appreciate Aaron Johnson Levy. I appreciate your time. You were the co-host and the executive producer of Fox's The House. You are also a mental health provider, and you're also a friend of mine, and I appreciate you coming and spending some time with me. I'll talk to you later, and I'll catch you next round. All right.
Men of color are living in unprecedented times. They are dealing with unprecedented circumstances. There has never been a brighter spotlight shined on how men of color are perceived, live, and are treated by society. The world is having a new conversation about race. The world is waking up to a new consciousness. In homes, offices, gyms, and backyards, everywhere people of various backgrounds and nationalities are rehashing over the same question. How can I impact the change that is needed right now in America? Code M magazine was born out of the need to bring to life the celebration, accomplishments, and lifestyles of men of color, published with a purpose to expose the world to the wonderful happenings engaging men of color. Code M magazine shines the spotlight right where it needs to be. With articles that excel in different occupations, including business, politics, medicine, science, and technology, Code M magazine offers its readers a new perspective and wide-ranging opinions from highly respected writers on a quarterly basis, for now, with the goal of going monthly in the very near future. We are offering our readers a unique opportunity to become a part of the Code M family by investing in our mission of publishing articles about amazing people changing the narrative of what is successful. We welcome you to take a closer look at Code M magazine and its family of businesses. Let's get excited, get involved, and let's make history together, one issue at a time, to show America and the world what magnificent men are really about. Code M magazine, transforming the lives of men of color.